Well, I'm back with another Elder Scrolls video. You know, I had an entire video related to the future of Fallout in Bethesda. Thought it was pretty well timed with the whole big boom in Fallout hype, thanks to the show. Yeah, but Microsoft just had to come along and ruin everything. So now my video would have seemed really weird and maybe even in poor taste, with how I talked about things before it all happened, of course. So here I am now recording a different video. Alright, that's enough hemming and hawing about how Microsoft decided the gaming industry wasn't in bad enough shape and decided it needed to make things worse, and make everyone who works under Bethesda's lives a little bit harder. But what am I talking about today? Well, I would say as the title suggests, but honestly I have no idea what I'm gonna title this thing as of right now. I'm not exactly sure how to word it. We're gonna be looking at Elder Scrolls stuff that isn't video games, but not like merch, no, like actual things related to the series. You know, like books and tabletop RPGs and who knows what else. Basically, I'm not gonna be talking about t-shirts that say, "Thank Talos, it's Fredas." And let's have a look at some Elder Scrolls stuff that isn't in the video games, but isn't merch, but I mean, it's still technically merchandise, but just bear with me. Yeah, you thought you could contain the raw, sheer power that is the Elder Scrolls on a disc? No, the series overflowing into the tabletop genre was destined from the start. The only issue with that is that none of them have been very noteworthy, and also some of them have been pretty unstable in their release. Starting with the first Elder Scrolls tabletop, Elder Scrolls Call to Arms. This game is a war game tabletop where you can control troops of whatever your wallet can afford to go through crazy story scenarios, and yeah, that's basically all there is to this. The story, as far as I can gather, isn't anything crazy, if there even really is much of one at all. The notable things about this are all the stuff surrounding the game. Elder Scrolls Call to Arms was made by a company called Modiphius Entertainment, a company that seems to specialize in making licensed tabletop games for notable IPs like Dune and Star Trek, and namely, for us here, also other stuff for Bethesda with Fallout. There's an underlying theme that you may notice with all the Call to Arms stuff I'm showing you on the screen right now, and yeah, all of it is just Skyrim. I mean, hey, it's a reasonable starting off point for the set, because as much as more hardcore fans would wish it was Morrowind or something, Skyrim is the most well-known and most played Elder Scrolls game to date. Now, this wasn't going to be much of an issue for long, because Modiphius announced plans to make a version of Call to Arms based around Oblivion and ESO. And man, it would have been kinda really cool with Oblivion and ESO, and especially with ESO, because you could build up a crazy diverse scenario of characters and settings. I mean, look at all the miniatures they produced just for Skyrim. Now imagine that with all the weird, crazy-ass, batshit insane stuff that goes down in ESO. Look at these, like, land pieces. Imagine that, but for the settings of Oblivion. Yeah, you could get this in the White Gold Tower. You were going to be able to create something really neat here, and maybe even convince your weird-smelling Warhammer friends to play with you. I mean, hey, it's not like Warhammer fans have ever actually played Warhammer, so this could be a good introduction to the genre for them. There's only one issue, and, well, it's that the ESO and Oblivion versions haven't come out yet, and, Elder Scrolls Call to Arms came out oh no. Yeah, seems like we aren't getting many updates to this in the future. They still sell all this stuff on both Amazon and the Modiphius storefront, and you can play a demo version of the tabletop in Tabletop Simulator, of course. But yeah, I guess the economic decline that started in that year for some unknown reason to me may have halted productions to continue this product in the future. The evidence of the lack of continuation that's coming to Elder Scrolls Call of Arms becomes a lot more concrete when you look at our next tabletop that was released just last year. Skyrim the Adventure Game, released by Modiphius. Yeah, it's so over, Call to Arms bros. Millions must play Skyrim the Adventure Game. Okay, so like, what is this? Well, Skyrim the Adventure Game is a 1 to 4 player narrative-based tabletop RPG with seemingly just a lot of effort put into it. I mean, Jesus, this is really a real RPG. You know, apparently, unlike the last one. This game, as you can tell by the title, centers around Skyrim, of course. The story is about a group of ex-Blades who are on the run from the Thalmor, but I swear to God this is a different plot from Elder Scrolls Blades, I promise. See, this game's story takes place actually over a long time, getting back to those early Elder Scrolls roots, goddamn. So don't worry, you and your party have plenty of time to do mini quests and dungeon delves. There's multiple campaigns that all except the campaign From the Ashes seem to go in order. Once your party gets into Skyrim, a series of events is set off involving Boethia, Reachmen, the Civil War, and oddly, it would appear that you guys just lose. Yeah, the 1-4 blades in this game get really humbled at the end of one of these campaigns. Not the final one, it's just odd. Because yeah, according to this UESP article, it says that at the beginning of the following Dawnguard themed campaign, you and your friends are freshly released from like 100 years of some sort of Boethia mind prison or something. Okay, cool. I mean, hey, you win some, you lose some. Your real beef is with this cult leader, not the god they worship in this story, I guess. I would go further into detail, but I won't lie, I've definitely not played, although I can tell you that From the Ashes has you fight a skeleton army, so yeah, this is pretty much peak gaming and also probably the best campaign, and I will definitely buy this in the future and make someone play it with me. But yeah, this one seems really a bit more up my alley than the last one, with it being a real RPG and all that. Now on to the next one that I'm a little confused by the whole scenario going on with it, I won't lie. This is Elder Scrolls Betrayal of the Second Era. It's a single and multiplayer tabletop in whatever style and genre this is. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the tabletop expert by any means. It's made by a company called Chip Theory Games this time and is centered around ESO, which was probably obvious given the name and especially the logo. Of course though, this isn't an adaptation of the never-ending crazy-ass plotline of ESO, but as per usual is set during the events of ESO. Yeah, I mean, hey, it looks really interesting. I really wish I could say more, but I don't know much more about this, about what I'm even looking at here. I saw this when it got crowdfunded immediately. I swear to God, it happened instantly after the announcement, but I could be crazy. Okay, so the weird thing about this, the weird thing about the Betrayal of the Second Era is, ever since its crowdfunding, I have not heard a single thing about it. I am looking at this stuff right now while recording this. I have no idea where this is going, when it's going to be out. It has like a vague date, I believe, but still, I haven't heard anybody mention it. Doesn't even have a UESP listing. I mean, that's the gold standard for Elder Scrolls stuff. Yeah, you're about as in the dark as I am on this. I mean, I'm sure it was probably going to be good, but no matter what it is, it's no hot dog bush. So with that, let's stop talking about nerdy tabletop RPG stuff and let's get into some real cool guy shit. Time to talk about oh yeah, having fun isn't hard when you've got your library card. So I'm not going to talk about something like the Elder Scrolls cookbook or anything because that would fall into the purview of just being merch. No, I'm going to talk about these. Oh yeah, you may have seen these floating around in the general discussion. What we're looking at here are the Greg Keyes Elder Scrolls novel duology. Yeah, fancy word for two. These two books are entirely canon to the franchise and are especially noteworthy for one big reason. See, these take place in the early 4th Era, in the 40s. In the first 40s, as in the year 40 and the year 48 of the 4th Era. So when I say early, I do mean early. But I mean, what's the big deal about that? We've explored the events of the 4th Era set before Skyrim, like in Blades and apparently Skyrim the adventure game. Well, see, Skyrim came out in 2011, very iconic for that 11/11/11 date. Bethesda loved that one. You see, the first book, The Infernal City, came out in 2009. This book was actually our first introduction into the 4th Era, and is our first introduction into some of the aspects of the 4th Era that we would eventually get to see in Skyrim. Namely that the Mead family took over as the rulers of the Imperial Empire, and that their version of the Blades is the Pentius Oculatus. You know, it took the Blades like so many years to finally fuck up and end up letting the Emperor die. It took the Pentius Oculatus like half that time. Legends, am I right? However, the second book actually came out a week or so after Skyrim, likely as a tie-in or something. I don't see a lot of people talk about this, and it's kind of important. This was our first taste of the 4th Era. This is Skyrim's Fall of Reach, in a way, and is referenced in-game as where the tree that the sleeping tree sap comes from. As for the contents of the book, they are about a weird and mysterious floating island with an even weirder and mysterious city on top of it. As the island floats around Tamriel, it kills people and then raises them from the dead. We follow a group of daring adventurers who attempt to stop the giant floating murder island because, I mean, it's kind of a problem. I mean, you wouldn't want to get killed by a giant flying magic island now, would you? I won't spoil too much because you should probably just go read these. But what I will say is that the city on top of the island is called Umberil, and to the informed, that should already be setting off some ideas as to the origins of said magic floating death island. Yeah, and I actually own these, unlike Skyrim the adventure game, although I don't own what we're going to talk about next. Now, these are the Tales of Tamriel. Now, these are kind of straddling the line between what I'm supposed to be talking about and just plain being merch. I think they should count these are pretty different from an Elder Scrolls cookbook, so cut me some slack. So what are the Tales of Tamriel? Well, it's another duology, yeah, we're bringing that again, of books that are comprised of actually in-game books from mostly seemingly ESO, accompanied by art, of course. Here you can find everything from big lore articles to small notes left by mages and the like. Notably, I really like this note that Devaeth Fear left, where he's just complaining about magic shit. You can also read the Ruminations on the Elder Scrolls, an essay written by Septimus Sigmus around 900 years before he was even born, another certified Elder Scrolls classic. I'm not even suggesting that this was a mistake. No, this is just how the Elder Scrolls are. Reality and the flow of time in this world is more of a suggestion than a rule, honestly. I really like these. Ignoring for a second the very well done but very clearly digitally drawn concept art put aside, the lore here. While reading these, you're really getting the feeling that you're sort of pouring through some sort of Mages Guild archive, reading important documents and what is tantamount to a grocery list of a mage. And I know I just said ignore the art that was included with this a second ago, but you really shouldn't in the long run. This stuff's cool as hell, and it's really nice to have sort of just a collection of this stuff on hand. And I think this is the kind of stuff that separates them from being an Elder Scrolls cookbook, if you get what I mean. Only issue is, I don't own them. They aren't that expensive, but I also did just graduate college, so I'm immediately broke forever. Luckily, I can just harass this dude who does own them to let me just steal them from him for the time being and let you guys look at them yourselves. So take a look. Oh yeah, there's also just the Skyrim libraries, and I feel like nobody talks about these, which is odd because there's 3 books here over Tales of Tamriel's 2. Yeah, finally a trilogy. I know that's what you've all been waiting for. As far as I can tell, and I can only say as far as I can tell because it's usually even more expensive, it's basically the same as the ESO books, but with stuff from Skyrim, so damn, do I need to spend some money at some point. I can feel Todd Howard staring at my fucking wallet right now because he knows. Todd Howard knows the envy I felt watching Camelworks Elder Scrolls collection video. I may not have the pewter Cyrus statue, but I can get these at the very least, right? Oh yeah, there's also the new Survival Guide to Tamriel, which as far as I know is about as important as the Elder Scrolls cookbook because I cannot tell you what is inside because I am not a big enough channel to buy things for videos yet. Yeah, there's no grand so I booked a ticket to Japan moment here, So this may be cheating, but this certainly isn't a video game. And I just didn't know when I'd have another chance to show this off and talk about it, so, yeah, you're just gonna have to deal. This is the Daggerfall Consumer Electronics Show Cinematic. The title alone of that should probably give away what this is. I'm talking about a promotional video made for Daggerfall at CES. This should be pretty important. It is Daggerfall's equivalent to Skyrim's You Should Have Acted trailer, but this is lost media. Oh yeah, it was only a matter of time before I got to this. Yep, someone ring the bell. Snowycity is talking about lost media. This right here is lost video game related media and, well, as per usual, I'm sort of lying to you. You can watch this entire video right now on YouTube. In fact, I'm gonna play it in the background as we are speaking now. The lost part is this is the best and only version we have of this video. Yeah, this grainy camcorder footage of a CRT monitor is the only footage of a CGI live-action FMV for one of the most important video games ever made. Who knows, maybe Bethesda has a copy of this, but I mean, who knows if they'll ever give up that tape, honestly. Some interesting things to note besides, you know, the obvious look of it. Mostly them mispronouncing Jaegar Tharn's name as Jaegar, but I don't care, I won't back down, it's Jaegar like Jägermeister. I'm gonna link the video below, but honestly, I'm just gonna play this in its entirety because I really don't think this is on any copyright detector radars, so here it all is in its stanky glory. The footage that makes Daggerfall seem like it's on the same level as a 90s edutainment game.
After the days of Tyler, the traitor Jaegar Tharn, where the Septim dynasty has ruled the land of Tamriel for 405 winter moons. Then the late moon Cameron, king of Sintra, will shine dark on his mortal enemy, King Glycendus, the dragon of Daggerfall. Though the dragon shall devour the moonlight, there will be no victory at the
with that, I'm going to close out this video and maybe look into getting these books. There's probably some other things I could have covered in this video, but I feel like I've covered the lion's share of the whole thing. Still need to come up with the title, so while I do that, you should follow my social medias. Anyway, I'm out of here.